NUFC Early Night News with Gary DeJordy Yum Yum, Andrew Boaky, and Derek the Mighty Wind. Weekdays from 8 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. USA. NUFC Talk.
Well, he still got it as 8 p.m. I did say it was 8 p.m. on there. I did tell him. But anyway, the words...
It's definitely 7:30 on the thumbnail.
Yeah, it's 7:30 on the thumbnail, but on the recording it says 8 p.m. Welcome, one and all. In the words of David Frost, good evening, welcome. I am the Geordie Yam Yam.
Good evening
Hello.
and welcome.
Welcome. Yeah, that was as better a good evening impression as Gordon or Ilanga as a winger.
Yeah,
I've got the mighty win.
The problem.
Yeah, there I've got mighty win. I've got Boaky as well as myself, the Geordie Yam Yam, with tonight's show. Like I say, we're going to do a 2 hour. We've split it up a little bit, guys. Like I say, we've realised that some people don't want to watch, 3 and plus hours back to back, like all in one go. So if you do want to go to bed and then come back and watch a recording, you can do so. Whichever segment you want to watch. So that's why we're breaking it all up. So like I say, welcome one and all, and thank you all for joining me. So before we get into tonight's show, let's do the housework and then we'll crack on. Like I say, welcome to everybody that's across all of the platforms. Thanks to everybody that works in the background, especially Chris. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoy the show. It just helps us get further as a channel to other supporters. A couple of things that's totally free. Subscribe and hit that bell. You will get the notification 30 minutes before we go live. We're always live, never edited. So if you want to come and join us, then you will know when we go live. If you want to support us, you can become a member, a small monthly fee. Obviously, if that's what you can afford, then go for it. It'll help us out massively. If you've got a question for anybody in the panel, or even if you just want to throw a general question towards us regarding a totally different subject, put a Q in front of it because then it'll highlight it in the chat. But it's not guaranteed. So if you do want to guarantee it, then follow the $sign, throw us a Talk TV chat, and then we will guarantee that message read out. And anybody that becomes a member during the show, or any of our beautiful members out there that gift them, will also be highlighted and thanked as we go. Gentlemen, how are we this Monday morning?
Sunny Monday.
Sunny Monday. I don't even know what day it is. Look, Monday evening is what I wanted to say. Are we good?
Yeah, all very good.
Yeah.
Superb. Are you looking forward to the week ahead, or is it something that's still a little bit further in the distance for you guys?
I've been trying to find out, first of all, when we'll get the players back.
Right.
And there doesn't seem to be anything definitive anywhere to tell us when they've got to be back or when they're expected back or anything to that effect.
Well, Bruno's got a game tomorrow, hasn't he? So he's not going to be back until, I would imagine, Wednesday.
Yeah, well, this is it. Is it all different for them all? I can't, because the crack we were talking about whenever, I can't remember, was one of the last shows we were saying, Eddie will have a full week to work with the players, but he's not going to have a full week at all. So it won't sort of determine whether he's a coach who requires 7 days before a game or 3 days before a game. Because obviously my comment at the time was, if we go out and blow City out the water because he's had 7 days training, that's fabulous, but does that mean that he's no good for 2 games a week?
Yeah,
it'll create as many problems as it answers.
Well, I think that's always been the problem. But you know what? For me, this next section just shows you how I feel about no more internationals. Oh, yes. Catch me if you can. Oh, yes. That is it. That is exactly how I feel. No more internationals that are gonna get in the way of all things Newcastle. Like I said, what we're going to try and do is try and get some answers if we can, which is easier said than done. I must admit. And I suppose the big question is, and I'm going to put it on the screen now, is can he do it? Can he change the way we are playing and get them results, those much needed points to get us a little bit further up the league? Now, you made a point the other day about obviously we are currently sixth, I think it is, in the wage league. But I mean, when I looked at this, and I was watching some of the programs back with you guys having a chat, like your talk this morning. Well done again, Corey and Sam. Great listen to this morning while I was busy, and the same with you. And you're obviously always at loggerheads on the morning. I don't know sometimes whether to laugh, cry, or just put my arm around you and give you a hug. Yeah, look, Benjamin, you read, mate. Chris is a bully, needs correction. Look at this one. Ben showing some love towards you, mate. Why is Chris so antagonistic this morning? He was just trying to pick a fight. But that's the idea. That's the name of the game with these two.
It was 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, whatever. 4 o'clock in the morning, I think, for Chris. So I would be grumpy if I had to get up at 4 o'clock. I was grumpy having to get up for 10 o'clock. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why they call it what it is. It's always going to be a battle with these two that early on the morning.
It's always got the fire in the background and the thumbnail, hasn't it? So you know what you're doing.
Absolutely. You know what you're going to get. There's going to be some ammo being fired somewhere. So going back to what I was saying before. Now, for me, one of the bigger major problems that Eddie has to sort out sooner rather than later. And I think this is, and again, I'm going to try and link it with what Boaky was talking about the other day when he did his solo video. About the fullbacks and things like that. But I think we have to dig a little bit deeper in this. Coming, obviously, next summer, there's currently 8 players that end of contract. Now, obviously, on that, you've got a lot of goalkeepers. So, for me, the lad in the bottom right-hand corner is Max Thompson, by the way, for anybody that don't follow the under-21s. So he's another goalkeeper that's out of contract in 26. Obviously, you've got Ruddy in there. You've got Gillespie. You've got Lascelles. We know, the rest. I think should speak for themselves. If you don't know them, then who do you support? What for me? I think this is where Eddie's got to get right. I don't think, and again, you guys can shoot me down if you like, but for me now, Eddie has to ask the question: are the players going out of contract now going to move me forward? And yeah, Ken, you're right. You are right in reading that. I wasn't going to mention it because I'm sick of mentioning it. We are linked to Trafford again. He has been again stating the fact, and I don't know where it's come from, but apparently the talk of the town is he wished he'd never moved to Man City. But again,
there's a surprise.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing. When you go 1 month and then they bring in Donnarumma the next, I don't think you will ever get your position back. So, and obviously with the World Cup coming up round the corner, he's got to play. He's got to play games. But is he any better than what we've already got?
He didn't really have a choice, did he? Because of the wage transfer. With the Man City transferred him out as soon as they put a bid in.
Yeah, the buyback clause.
Yeah, they've always they had first choice. We know that. I mean, there wasn't anything anybody can do. But I think Trafford thought, rubbing his gloves together, that this was the move of his lifetime. You know what I mean? They were in a situation where they were struggling for keepers. They went in, they got the buyback clause in there, and straight away, everything was signed, sealed, and done literally within 24 hours. So now, I think him having his debut didn't, blow any frocks up. They brought in Donnarumma, and obviously he's been on the bench. And I must admit, I haven't been massively impressed with Donnarumma's performances, if I'm absolutely honest with you. So again, Rumourville, I haven't seen anything factual, but there is rumours out there that Trafford isn't happy, and we have apparently got one finger on the pulse, and that's all I'm going to say to see where that takes us. But what's your guys' thoughts? Go on, Boaky, mate. Sorry.
Just to correct one thing on this. As you soon find out when you do a solo video, you get picked up on your facts. Pope actually signed an extension, so he's till 27 now.
27, but what I'm saying is the 26 mark. It was an option that the club imposed, wasn't it? So
he signed it up.
So he hadn't got no choice, mate. Factually, it's 26, but the club have imposed that extra year. So he hasn't got a choice. No. That was written and signed by the contract. So you're right. So Pope, but again, for me, I can't. NUFC Truth, I always struggle to read your comments. Sorry, from what I see, James Trafford is so bad for City. Why do we want him? He's a flop. I mean, it is easy to go and just point a finger. I can't understand why we're looking at another keeper. I must admit. We've got all these keepers on the board. Ruddy has to go, right? He has to go off the books. Whether he becomes a coach, he can't stay, right? So that's me. For me, Trippier has to go. There is no point. These 7 players. I'm not going to rule out. And the reasons why I've put Pope on there is because for me, when you look at, it'll come to us in a minute because I've got another slide to look at because this is where I think Eddie Howe needs to really work, and it's the 2-year window. Wazza, thank you ever so much, buddy. Need a massive go at City this weekend, Boaky. What do you think, mate?
Yeah, I think the whole weekend starts from Eddie's press conference on Friday. I think he needs to set the tone then, be excited, be up for it, and then the whole team be up for it. And it's difficult against City, but I don't think it's undoable. But it all has to come from the very start, from Eddie giving the team, obviously getting them built up for it, building the fans up for it, having the City ready for it. It's 5:30 kickoff. If everybody's in, we need everything to be perfectly in place for us to beat them. So everything starts from the start, and then the players on the pitch, obviously we need them to improve massively. So completely agree, but we need to be all up for this Man City game.
Yeah. And obviously we'll be playing under lights, won't we? So that always gives you a different vibe.
And 5:30 on a Saturday afternoon. The crowd are going to be up for it.
Buzzing,
that could have repercussions the other way, of course.
Absolutely.
Because their inhibitions will be gone, so we'll then sharp see where the common thought lies.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, when you look at their home and away form now, even though they had a bit of a dodgy start, their home and away performances have been absolutely outstanding recently. So I ain't expecting a lot, I must admit, not having a look at how Newcastle have performed. And I think we are a bit chalk and cheese at the minute. So going back to this, and like I say, that's the reason why I kept Popey on there, matey, because I'm looking at a 2-year period here. So Popey fits into the other slide more than this slide, but because we've had that extra one. So for me, out of the 8 players that are on here, I'd probably keep 1. And as much as I think Max Thompson has got a career as a footballer, I don't think it's a career at this level. So for me, like I say, I'd potentially give Shaw an extension. And that was it was as in again. Boaky, so what do you actually think, mate?
Actually, if heart says we'll win, head says it's going to be hard for him. Potentially, it's a loss. What you don't want was to get absolutely smashed in the game. Otherwise, as Win says, the time of night it's going to be, it could turn could turn
very nasty.
Yeah, very quickly. So
Yeah.
Hart says win, and I think I'll go with my heart for now. So I say win this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, something that we'll come on to a bit later on in the week, where we'll have a bit of a deep dive in the City game. But like I say, we've still got a few days to go before we even get to that crybaby stage. Because I mean, I have got my hankies ready, because I have a feeling it is going to be a bit of a battering, unless Eddie can pull something out the woodwork. So what's your thoughts on these 8 players that potentially could walk out of the door for no money at all to the club? Right. And I think this is why we've got to change our mentality a little bit. And I think this is what Mitchell was getting onto, with there being the loyalty, not having a deep enough squad at the times, not a young squad. We still, I think, 4th from top for the oldest team in the Premier League. So even though we've recruited a lot of youngsters, we've not gone down the actual age table a lot. So for me, is there anybody else on this list that you can see that you think you would give another 12 months to?
Well, I would give another 12 months to Trippier and Shea, much against what you're saying, because for what you're going to get for them, what are you going to... If you're going to suggest, an excellent right back who's ready to come in, put it this way, I would rather retain Trippier than Krafth. I think Trippier, as old as he is still a better footballer, a better right back option than what Krafth is. And I know Krafth, well, apart from the last game, but by and large, whenever Krafth's come in, he's done a great job for her. But he's still not as technically proficient as Trips is. He hasn't got the nous that Trips has got. And I don't even know that he's got that much more pace than Trippier, to be honest. He might have a little bit, but I think it's probably debatable.
I think both of them are going to be backup players, Trips and Shaw. But
hopefully,
I would keep both of them. The thing is, what we've got to remember is in the summer we're going to have to go out and buy some. If it is a summer, if it's not January, but whatever transfer it is, we're going to have to go out and spend money on certain positions. So left back, we definitely need backup 4, and obviously definitely a central midfielder. Maybe he's a winger the way things are going, and a striker. So I think if you keep them lads in for another season, they'll be good enough as backup, and you don't have to worry about covering those positions. I think we all know as well, Gillespie will get a new contract 100%.
Well, somebody's got to be the social manager, haven't they?
It happens every summer. So he's a third choice keeper. He's a backup. He never plays, but obviously
he's happy making the tea, isn't he?
He's happy making the tea, and they're happy enough with him just being there. He's happy enough just being here. I don't think there's much of an issue with that. He's not on huge wages, so he's not cost them anything really.
No, I mean, I will agree with you, but again, I have to start looking at, we've got to start moving away from. I mean, I'm never going to say you're wrong, and like I say, you both come up with a good argument. As a backup, who would you rather have? Who would you get in replacement of? The problem is, for me, if we keep going in the sentimental side of things, you're never going to move forward. You're never going to get the squad in that you want, because these experienced players are always going to be under Eddie's light in front of any kid that comes through the door. So when do these kids ever get an opportunity to show if they can step up? The likes of Leo Shahar, they're talking about loaning this kid out now, because he's never going to get an opportunity at Newcastle. So now they're thinking, crap, this kid's only got another 12 months before he will start knocking on the door to go somewhere else. I mean, he's not a local boy. He's got nothing allegiance to Newcastle. He's from Wolverhampton. So, if Wolves come a knocking, do you not think that he will disappear back that way? So, for me, it's a case of, I mean, he can play Championship, surely. But for me, it's a case of we have to stop being loyal to players that have reached their ceiling and probably on the decline now. Oh, was I? So, Boaky, your heart says win. Fair enough. Just answer the question, man. How will it go and who should play and what system to turn the corner, man?
Jesus. Well, I think win will always say win. So I will say I'll go with me heart again. Win. His system will be the same system he always plays. The team, I think, the only change potentially that will be from the team that the last team we put out is obviously we've got to replace Burnwood Hall, and I dare say we'll maybe play Ramsey for Joe Linton. But I'm sure we'll get onto that later in the week in regards to team selections.
Yeah,
Indeed.
absolutely. Indeed. Gav, I'm just going to put Gavin's on. He's just thrown this one up on the screen there. Might sound harsh, but if Tripp goes, we can put someone else on set pieces. I'm sick of him having control, then he can't get past the first man. Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's on the decline. And that isn't a harsh thing towards him. You know, the lad's done his job. He's been one of the best fullbacks I've seen in the Newcastle shirt. Not the best, but one of. In my top 5, especially. But I still think, you know, for me, listen, Trippier is 3rd in the list of defenders on assists. So, in the Premier League. So, you've got Arnold, you've got Robertson, both from Liverpool, believe it or not, and then you've got Tripps to reach that height of assists as a defender. And again, that's credit. That's credit in the bank that he can keep and everything else. And that's why I said it was hard for me to say because of what he's given us. But it's like everything else. We've got to stop dallying on the past and we've got to start working on the future. I'm going to put this other one on because, like I say, this is the one that also ends. And this is the one that I really want to work with because obviously you can put Popey on this one now. And again, what you have to ask yourself, we're in that 2-year period now of whether you extend a contract or Eddie Howe believes that these players can take him to that next level. And I think, well, that's if Eddie Howe is obviously still at the mantle. But I think that's where Newcastle have been going wrong in my eyes. I think at this present moment in time, by keeping a lot of the players that have seen us get to a ceiling, it's that loyalty thing. And I think we've got to start saying to ourselves, which 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5 players are going to take us beyond where we are now, or any worth another contract? Or do you cash in? Now, we know Botman is interest from Liverpool. You obviously have said that he's not had a great start to the Premier League. Oh my days!
You're doing a great job, was he? You're doing a better job than Craig Hope.
Absolutely. Oh crikey! I'm going to let you say this one, Win.
You see, Boaky, it's hard being a manager, having questions fired at you.
Absolutely.
Good
But do you get me drift, boys? I mean, you know, for me, you know, if Botman isn't in the plans, and I like Botman, I think, you know, he's a natural side of player. Again, you've got to ask yourself how much money you're going to get. But if we wait another 12 months, his money goes down drastically because you're only on 12 months contract. And that's the same with the likes of Willock. You know, for me, he should have been gone this summer rather than waiting till January because you're going to get less money for him anyway.
And by all accounts, there was interest, you know, from
Fulham. Fulham were
Fulham.
really interested, yeah. And like I say, I think Palace were waiting for one of their lads to go, and they'd earmarked Willock to jump in, especially because he's a Southern lad anyway. You know, so it would have probably suited both parties. And Murphinho, you know, as good as he is, he's 30-year-old now. Is he going to take us to that next level? Well, we all know the answer to that. But how much loyalty do you keep with the players that are delivering?
And that's the thing, right now, out of all of our wingers, he is the one that's actually delivering. Not a lot. Absolutely. Not a lot. But,
not a lot, but a little. And according to a lot of rumours, and I don't know whether that's Connor just sent me a little text there. I heard a rumour about Botman discussing contracts with Eddie Howe about play time, because he wants to guarantee that he's in the squad. And I think that's quite harsh on Eddie Howe to actually give him them type of agreements. Because
I think he's in the squad. I don't think there's any doubt about him being in the squad. It's about whether he's in the 11.
11, yeah, that's what I meant. Is he in the playing 11 or playing squad type of thing? So for me, you can't. I don't think any coach can guarantee that, because that's up to the player. Surely, you perform. Go on, mate.
You perform, you get picked.
I think what we'll need to remember is over the next 2 seasons, we'll basically have to sign a full new back four. The age of the the backup players that you would think now for the back four are all in the mid 30s. So I think with Botman, we need to make a decision probably in January. If he's not going to sign a new contract, sell him. If he will sign a new contract, great, get him signed up. But we need that decision made then, because at that point we can then buy that central defender and move forward for the as I say, to replace the other 4 over the next 2 summer transfers, which is going to have to be done because of the age of them.
Well, and that's the problem. That our 2, or anybody I think would agree, our 2 first choice fullbacks now are Livramento and Hall. And they are both young. So are you going to try and buy backups who are younger than they are? Or are you going to try and buy backups who are going to be older than they are, but who are going to be happy to know effectively that that's what they are, squad players?
Yeah.
And if you're signing that type of player, are they good enough for what we want?
Yeah. But the one thing that gets me about loyalty with Eddie, and you can put it as whatever you want, whatever title you want to give it. Loyalty. It's not a risk, because I've seen these guys play for me for the last 4 seasons. They've done the job. We've got to Champions League. Why do I need to change? And or not, honestly, would Malik Chow be in the side now if it wasn't for Botman, for Shaw getting concussion? He wouldn't, would he? There's one from Aaron Kant there that I've starred. The issue, if we could sell Botman for 40 or 50 million, and he goes on to be that 80 million pound player we know he can be, we have to keep him because he's our best centre back by a mile.
Well, hang on a minute. I don't think I'd be thinking about selling him for 40 or 50 million. Not a chance.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're not going to get a lot of money for him if you allow time to go, and that's the decision that Eddie Howe has to make. He has to make this.
I think you've got to offer Botman a contract anyway and see if he'll sign it. Because
that's the problem,
my hero is not going to be around forever.
Well, that's the thing, and that's something I'm going to come to in a second, if I'm honest. But you're right. Dan Burn ain't going to be around forever. 31 years old,
and he can't play 60 games a season either.
No, not at all. So he's got 2 years to still run on his contract. I don't think there's any problem with Dan Burn. I've put him on here to say, if you're going to get rid of him, you've got to move him now. But I don't think he will. I think Dan Burn will stay and see his contract out. I think he'll finish his days.
I think he'd be. I know it sounds crazy, but I think he'd be quite happy. He'll not be kicking up no dust for being sat on the bench.
I think with Dan Burn, if he gets
once the World Cup's finished.
I was going to say once he gets to the World Cup, if he gets to the World Cup and is in that squad, I mean that's made his career, really, hasn't it? He's come to his hometown club. He's won a cup. He's become a legend around the area. I know I've called him at left back, but he has been a class player forward. And then he goes on and finishes his career here, gets his lap of honour around the pitch as his last game.
Yeah.
That's a perfect career for him. That's the best that he could have hoped for.
I'm tearing up thinking about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's been back a couple of years where he was to where he is now. I mean, his career's took off at the end of it. Basically, it's a
I mean,
bit shame it
it's
wasn't
you
at the
know,
start.
as I said when I did me Wembley thing, you know, it was a couple of weeks after the Wembley, and if Carlsberg did fairy tales, even they couldn't come up with that one.
It's the typical Roy of the Rover stuff, isn't it?
Well,
You know what I mean? If you think about it, pushing
goal
trolleys
in
in
the cup
Asda.
final, call for England.
Yeah. It's madness, really, when you think about it. Marco's put in that useless keeper that we bought from Forest, outstanding against Scotland. Yeah, Vlachodimos, I'll tell you something now, pulled off an absolutely incredible save when they were winning 3-2 to keep it the win against Scotland for Greece. And that's another one that's going to come back potentially. I mean, that's if Sevilla do pull the plug or they agree terms, which is going to go against Newcastle. So they're never going to get 20 million back for him. So we will have to see.
Quick question with that lad. I've watched him play a few times. Have you ever actually seen him have a bad game? I don't think.
Well, the half game that he played for us, he was all right. He looked okay.
He played brilliant against England.
I just think he's not a bad goalkeeper.
No, he's not. Well, I was saying that at the time and being called an idiot.
But
I mean, the only evidence we saw in a black and white shirt was that half that he played against Hull City pre-season a year and a bit ago. But he did nothing wrong there. Again, not that it takes a lot of doing, but he was certainly better with his kicking than what Mr. Pope is. Just to go off topic just slightly, I mean, can you understand how a professional footballer is training every day and his footwork just doesn't seem to improve at all?
He's flat-footed. He's flat-footed, mate. If you look at him, that seems to be the major issue. He's never going to improve.
But surely he must know that himself, and he must have been told it by other people. And if he's incapable of improving that, it says something else about him for me, because he's just. I don't know if it's a nerve thing or
sometimes it's a mental thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a mental thing.
I think he lets his hands do the talking, doesn't he? As a goalkeeper, is the way to look at it. So, if you want him, he's never. At his age now, he's never going to change. He's not going to all of a sudden become the best distribution goalkeeper.
No, you're saying that, but I'm saying, how can you not improve your technique?
I suppose if they put me and you on the field with, they'd probably be saying, well, how can you not pass a 5-yard pass to another player? It's dead easy, sort of thing. But neither will probably do it very well. It's sort of, you've got things that are natural and things that aren't.
Yeah, but it's like I said, for me, it's not as if Popey hasn't just come through the door here. He's been here a while. We've all seen what flaws. But again, you have to go back. If this is Eddie's mantra, and this is the way Eddie wants to play, then you've always got to have a backup plan to that. So for me, if I were to play from my defence outwards, and Popey is my number one keeper, then 25 to 30 minutes every training session, Popey gets against a wall and he just fires balls at himself all the time. Because the one thing that you notice when you're doing that rebound work, and you work off left to right foot, so it's control with your left, push it to your right, kick it. Control with your right, kick it to your left, kick it. And you're just literally working across lines of your body. It's not hard. And you're against a wall, so you have got no competition whatsoever. Doing that for 25 minutes to half an hour every training session, I guarantee you now, will be better than just using your hands entirely. Because for me, again, this is where Eddie Howe for me fails as a coach, if he's looking to play from the back and not teaching or trying to set a standard for the goalkeepers to try and match. And I think that is where we are a little bit different when it comes to, looking at weaknesses, because we've all got them. You've only got to do a SWOT analysis. Every player will have a weakness. So how do you stop the weakness from occurring? You know.
We've got a super chat from what's that there? I'm not gonna put it up. It's words to the effect of you do your training, call it playtime. Playtime, you get the cane if you're no good, shall we say. Give me a break. It boils my chamber pot how these players think. They are delusional.
Sorry, Win. I think we'd all agree this weekend. Warren makes the point there that potentially this is the chance to give Ramsdale his shot in goal. I think us three would probably all choose Ramsdale. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm assuming us three would all choose
and
Ramsdale.
Long before now.
But I don't think that'll happen. I think if Pope's fit, he'll play.
We get back to that loyalty thing again, don't we?
Yeah.
You know, the one thing that you have to have against Man City is control of the ball, because once you start flapping, even kicking it out, you know, for cover, so you're just giving the ball back for a throw in halfway up, you know, to a team like Man City, who are a massive counter-attacking side, you have to be able to control that ball. And slow the ball down, get that tempo away from the way Man City want to play, and you control the ball.
Oh, breaking news. Walter Morris just scored again.
Hey, there you go. It's amazing what he can do in a 4-2-3-1 system, though, isn't it?
And that's by the way, the decider. You know, that was a must-win because they're both sitting on 18 points, I think.
I just want to. I need to put this up, Gary. How come you keep saying our players are younger than they are? Trips is 35, not 33. Asula's 23, not 21, and Byrne is 33, not 31. Well, NUFC truth. Let me tell you the truth. I've got a brain injury. I don't always keep players' names, numbers, goals scored, or anything like that in my head. I can't even remember the last game we played with any detail. So I have to research and have it in front of me before I say it. So there you go. I lost 15 years memory through meningitis. So when I listen to these guys recall all of the great times that Newcastle have had, I sit here with a smile on my face, and I might as well just be passing wind, because it means absolutely diddle to me. And then I have to go and research it, and then it just brings back those little glimmers of hope and memory. So there you have it. I'm not trying to take the mickey. I have a brain injury, and it just does not stick. So I'm not trying to be funny. All right. So there you go. I'll put that to bed now. I hope you understand.
People forget as well, Gary, we're live, and you try, even without a brain injury, you're sitting here and you're trying to remember things. And
Boaky, if your name wasn't at the bottom of the screen, I would even forget you, mate.
Players' names you mixed up, positions, everything. So you've got to let off sometimes, because we're all live.
Well, it's not, like I said, that's why I keep calling you Andy sometimes, because I forget Boaky. So and Andy, for some unknown reason, stays in here. And that's why I said I'm so glad you've got your name at the bottom of the screen now, because it becomes a little bit easier. I mean, sometimes I forget his name's bloody Derek, and I keep calling him Win. Even when I go around his house, all right, Win, how you doing? That's your excuse, Gary. What about the other two?
We're just genuinely daft, Warren.
I am not going to talk about that at all. You know, for me, when we look at contracts, I do think this is where Eddie needs to ruffle a few feathers, and we've got to start utilising that 2-year contract, because that's the drop-off point for me. When you look at the players now that could walk out the door for little to no money, and you're quite right, what we're going to replace them with. But until you do replace them, how do you know what the backup are like? You know, we're going to have a bit of a look at a couple of players that we are linked to in a minute. Again, youngsters, and I've found an absolute worldie playing in Bundesliga 2, who I think, if Eddie Howe doesn't go and put somebody to have a look at this kid, a scout, I will stand shooting. For a 16-year-old playing men's football, absolutely outstanding player. But that's the thing, you know. There is players out there and there's players across the globe. Chelsea seem to be very good. And I am honestly thinking now, you're looking at this new, we were talking about it before, PSR is going to be going, and we're talking about the CSR now, SCR, squad cost ratio. That's it.
Yep.
SCR. I've got to try and get that
Anchoring.
into my head. Well done. Oh, there's Mancunian way there. You can have the ball. We play very different now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, mate, we can't even keep the ball. It reminds me of the John Smith's advert. Have it, because that literally is how we play now. It is an interesting one for me, looking forward at how Eddie Howe changes the system. We've seen Mitchell say that it's not fit for purpose. We continue down this line, giving players away, because that's literally what we're doing. When is it going to be fit for purpose?
But Gary, we keep saying Eddie. Is it not Wilson's decision now?
It is now. It is now.
In regards, especially the contracts. So yeah, we all know Eddie wants to keep players that he's used to and he's had in the squad for years. He's done it throughout his time here. He wants to keep the older players, the likes of Richie Dummett was the case. Now it'll be probably Trippier, Shaw, Byrne. He'll naturally want to keep them. Is it up to it is up to the director of football to actually say to him, Eddie, no. These players have served a great purpose for the club, but they need to be moved on now.
Yeah, look, I love a guy who knows players. Man, you were after this kid, and I think he's very close to going. That's the 16-year-old I'm talking about. Hertha Berlin, Bundesliga 2. What a player this kid is. If you get a chance to go and have a look at some of his stuff, super. Oh, crikey. Kenneth Eckhorn, or something like that. Eckhorn? Oh, I'll put it up. There's Foxes again. Kenneth Eckhorn. There you go. Absolutely superb young lad.
Eichhorn.
Eichhorn. I was going to say, you speak fluent German, don't you?
9.
Don't say 9.
Kein fluent. Mehr als ein bisschen.
Indeed. I have no idea.
Not fluent, but more than a little. I got arrested for anchoring, banned from Tesco for life.
Every little helps, Warren.
Yeah. Pinching the butter. Oh my days! You've got. I tell you something now. You've got to be early for him. NUFC Truth again have come in. I saw that one before, mate. I have starred it for a bit later on. Are we smart enough to go and get Semenyo? Are we going to keep throwing £65 million at players that, like 55 million for Elanga, playing superb for Forest? What's the difference with Semenyo coming here? You throw 65 million on a release clause. There's no guarantees in any of these players, even though, trust me, I think Semenyo's an absolutely awesome player.
I'll tell you something. If we bought Semenyo and his form suddenly dipped,
you'd question Eddie then, wouldn't you?
I would be scurrying straight over to Boaky's dark side.
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
Welcome.
But I think that is the problem. We have got a bit of money to spend in. Look at the Mancunian way, wanted by Liverpool and City and Chelsea as well. I mean, I'll tell you something now. If you look at Chelsea's youngsters, they are well clued up when it comes to academy players. They've got some phenomenal. I have got a couple here. Bear with me a second because I've got to go back a couple. So, in actual fact, I'm going to keep that for another day. I have just found what I was asking you guys to do. I'll do that tomorrow, and we'll have a look at that one. That was the traffic lights system I was telling you about for this new SCI system. So now I've got it. I'll keep that for another show.
I think the problem is, you're looking for a garage. The problem is with the likes of City and Liverpool being in for players. We've seen what it's been like this summer. Last summer in regards to that. we're going to.
Some of this is Chelsea's young uns at the minute, right? These are all their academy players, and you can't even call them academy players. Estevao plays in the first 11, plays for Brazil's first team. They've got some fantastic players, and that is where, I'm not saying Newcastle will ever get to what Chelsea have got, because they're long in the tooth now, and it's the same with a lot of the big clubs, Man Cities, the Liverpools now, Man Uniteds. They're all going to be so far in front of us when it comes to academy players. But there's always going to be the ones that don't make it, because even Chelsea, as you can see there, you've got 9 players. You've got nearly a squad of youngsters that are all highly talented players.
And that's the
Troy
thing.
Parrott again, another one, a good player, scored again, didn't he, the weekend?
Only some of them can play.
Exactly. Some of them will go.
If they are quality, then they will want to go somewhere where they're going to get first team football. Yeah. So that's why, regardless of how much clubs have gotten away, you can only buy so many players. And in fact, Martin's in from Mancunian way, and I heard LB, another Man City blogger, and he came up with a great point. I thought anybody can buy first team players. The hard thing to do is buying squad players, buying players who are good enough to be on the bench, but when they come into the first team, the drop off is not, off a cliff. And it is an art to get that sort of player who's kind of happy, and you've got to keep them happy. You've got to do some rotation. They're not going to be happy sitting there all day, every day. And it's a juggling the balls. That's what they get paid the big bucks for.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to.
As was I saying, we are lacking break the lines flair of Semenyo's class. Yeah, I agree.
We're lacking wingers. Full stop.
But that's been, for me, the major problem this season has been the wingers' forms, the form of the wingers. There's just none of them been at the races, with a possible exception of Murphy in glimpses here and there. You're not seeing it for 90 minutes every game.
Murphy's not the type of winger that's going to go and take a player on either, is he? You're looking for a give and a go for Murphy to get in and behind the channels. He hasn't got that skill set. You're looking at Elanga. Elanga hasn't got the trickery, but he's got the pace to get in behind. So, again, your anticipation of the opposition, probably against Man City, you could see Elanga, his strength. Especially if their fullbacks come and start pressing. Have we got then somebody like Elanga that can beat the offside line and have space to run onto? Because at the minute, the sides that we have come up against, it certainly hasn't suited Elanga. Because, again, he hasn't got the skill set to beat a player. Anthony Gordon, another one, can get down the line, can beat a player with pace, but doesn't always seem to have that skill set to be able to dribble past players comfortably anyway. And we know Harvey Barnes, again, great in the final third, but again, pace, unfortunately, doesn't suit him when it comes to playing that way. So Newcastle at this present moment in time, with all 4 Premier proven players, are lacking an output towards the centre. And like I say, it's easy for us to sit here and say, well, we've got this wonder kid up front, Voltamara, who's scoring goals left, right and centre at international level. So why is it dried up at Newcastle? Well, again, you feed the horse and the horse will gallop for you. And we're just not supplying him with anything. He's coming far too deep. And again, he's just not got the pace. And I wouldn't expect him to, as a coach, to get back up the field of play from the halfway line to be on the end of them balls being pulled into the middle. That he's just started the setup, if you like. So there has to be a change in the system for Newcastle. And that, for me, you have to start asking yourself, do you get rid of one of your midfield warriors? Do you take one of them out and go and throw a 10 in? Just somebody who can get closer to him. And, there's talk now that Anthony Gordon He's 50-50 for the match against Man City. Does he come straight back in the side? Does Harvey Barnes get dropped? Because he hasn't had bad games. We just know he's got limitations, Harvey Barnes. So, for me, would you say to yourself, if Anthony Gordon's 80% fit, and it seems that Eddie Howe is trying to make those 80% fit people work, if they're fit enough, they're good enough type of situation, do you throw Anthony Gordon in the 10
unless you call Lewis Hall?
Unless you're called Lewis Hall, yeah. And then it's a different kettle of fish because he has to wait behind the Lord and Master. And here you go. Look at this. Here's a nice little book for you. Eddie Howe, and you've got the Dan Burn on his lap, and there he is, the poor old Hall on the floor, waiting his turn to get on his lap. It's an interesting one because for me, you go on.
He's weighing in with contributions. Well, you are that, Warren. Thank you very much. Murphy's had a go. I don't know. Or has to go. Or what exactly do you mean, Warren? He has to go, or he's had a go?
No, I think he's had a go. I think he's tried to make something out of nothing, and he has. That's what we said.
Yeah,
for all Murphy's limitations, and he is limited when it comes
definitely
to his skill set.
Definitely the best of a bad bunch.
And I think that's where we've got it wrong this year. And again, the cost of those players coming in, nigh on £100 million, for the likes of Anthony Gordon, took him a few months to get going. Then he had a wondrous season. Then he's just dropped off the boil massively. And Elanga just hasn't got started at all. And that's why I questioned when we on the verge of signing him whether he actually suited Newcastle style of play. Because to me, without again, we're going on to Eddie Howe's identity. He's the intensity side, which doesn't seem intense anymore. It's not the thriller like we used to watch. And to me, it was always questionable whether they were picking the right players to run the cause. And I think Eddie Howe expected somebody with pace was just going to upset the back four. He wasn't going to be reliant on crosses, even though we've seen it at Forest. He puts good balls in. There's always the opportunity of assists when he gets to that byline. But he hasn't looked anything like the Elanga that we saw at Forest. And that's, again, I'm not saying Semenyo would be anything like that. But any player of value could come and not work. So, again, is it risking the money or do you just risk the name? Do you go for somebody that isn't really coming? Cordero, we talk about Cordero coming back in January. Are we going to wait to see what he offers us? Because the loan deals just haven't done.
Is that a little bit why we needed it? We needed, obviously, we've got the director of football now, which is great, but that's why we needed one for this summer, was because you need to have a football strategy across the club. And at the minute, it just seems that we've went for players that we could actually get. It doesn't look like there's been a full-on strategy of how these players are going to work together, because an Elanga type of player doesn't really work with a Voltemora type of player. They just
I think Elanga could
work together.
I think Elanga could work with Voltemora, but Elanga just doesn't seem to be doing anything at the minute.
Yeah, but do you think we're asking the wingers to do too much because we don't play with a 10? You play this system 3-0 up now, Germany, are they?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I think it's all over now. I mean, it is a shame to see what happens because we isolate the top three from the middle three completely, especially recently. I mean, we've had no movement from them middle three whatsoever. I had a quick look today at the tackle at Brentford on J7, and it was a nasty tackle. But they said he went off with a cut, and I couldn't see a cut on that shin at all. I mean, I zoomed in, I zoomed out. I couldn't see any cut. It was a bruise. There was a nasty bruise, and it was a scrage off the stud, but it wasn't a cut like they were saying. It was an open wound. There was nothing like that on there at all. It's crazy. I just think the for me, losing, say, J7 at the middle of the park, going with Tonali and Bruno, throwing in maybe Harvey Barnes in the middle. If Gordon's fit, say to Gordon, go and play on the wing, cause the wing back a bit of problem. If he's fit, I'm not saying he is. Then playing somebody like Harvey Barnes in the middle, somebody who can retain the ball, feed left and right, then go and support. Because I think you'll see the best of Voltemada. And at the end of the day, as we all know, we all bear witness.
So, in fact, you're saying replace J7, for example, with
just take him out the side and put Harvey Barnes. This is if Anthony Gordon's fit, because if Anthony Gordon ain't fit, then you've got to look at something else. But for me, the perfect 10 that would. I mean, again, you could either even maybe put.
Do you think Harvey Barnes has got that?
He can shoot
lockpick
left and right
in his toolbox.
Yeah. He's done it in the past in a 10. He played really well when he was at the Albion in a 10. I mean, this is in his younger days. The problem is with Harvey Barnes, we know he hasn't got the pace to get behind, right? But he has got the brain, and he knows where to run. That's why when you've seen him, when he plays narrow, he's a little bit of a different player than when he plays out wide, because he hasn't got the pace to beat anybody. But he has got it in his locker to shoot from the 18-yard line at a decent level.
Yeah, absolutely. He can shoot. There's no doubt about his ability to shoot. I'm talking about, you're talking about putting a 10 in to unlock a little, and I don't think he's got like the dribbling skills. Well,
you don't need dribbling skills. That's what I'm saying. What you want is a pin. You want somebody that can control the ball in that area, because what that does then, he stops Voltemada dropping in too deep. He can come alongside, and you can play 2 10s, and one can go, one can stay. But what we haven't got is somebody that holds that ball a little bit higher up the field. And when we have all 3 of our players literally holding hands in the middle of the park, and you'll see it against Man City, because they'll be too frightened to go forward. When we do want to pass the ball into the passing lanes.
That's what was I saying? It's like when I was saying, have a go, don't play safe.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I want. I want to stop all this tippy-tappy around the back.
If we go for the 10, is there a chance that you put Willock there? Because, I mean, he did it he did it in the past, didn't he? That was when he had his seasons when he was scoring all the goals.
When he had his purple patch.
Yeah,
but to be fair,
I think Willock's gone. I think
he's gone, but I'm just saying, if you're looking for that type of player and somebody that's actually done it for work, I would say in the squad he's the only player that's ever actually played that role and done it.
Well, for us, I've been advocating Ramsey in for J7 for a while now.
I'd throw Ramsey in there. I'd throw Ramsey in the 10. If Gordon ain't fit, I'd throw Ramsey in there.
And he has got a trick.
That's what I'm saying, But for me, what I want to see is just somebody that can put the foot on the ball, hold it up a little bit. And I think sometimes, as good as Ramsey can be with the trickery, is a bit lightweight. And I think sometimes if you can start turning teams around by just holding the ball up and playing square, and then having diagonal runs into the corners, so whoever's picked the ball up can give you back. And, me and you watched the international against Albania, right? What were we saying in the first half with the midfield? No movement. There was no movement whatsoever. So it become very stagnated, and it's exactly the same with Newcastle. If you haven't got players that are willing to run 20 yards to create the angle for the straight pass into feet, and then you can open your body up and go again, then you're in trouble. And that at West Ham, that at Brentford was exactly that. When you're being bullied in the middle of the park, you're in trouble. Imagine what it'll be like against Man City, that have got the players that will hurt you if you're going to give them that ball back. So that is what I'm saying. That's the pick.
Irish Assassin saying in the top 25 list of players who shoot outside the box, Murphy is the only one in Newcastle. The rest of the teams have several in the top 25.
Yeah, well, I mean, Murphy can. I mean, now he can score. Yeah, we can shoot with his right and left. The same with Harvey Barnes, and that's why I said, for me, I would love to have a look at these two playing a little bit narrower. Playing a different system. Like say, even if you want to pull Voltemada down a little bit, and play these narrow in a bit of a reverse Christmas tree. I think Eddie has to change. Eddie has to make a decision on where we go. He's just. I've just been sent another picture of his leg, and again, I can see the graze, but I can't see an open wound on J7's leg. So I really didn't understand why, unless there's something else going on. All I can see is varicose veins on J7. I can't see anything else.
There's plenty of them.
If we can see these things need to be tried with Newcastle, is there a major question of why Eddie and his coaching staff can't? I mean, we've stuck very much like for like. The only real changes he's ever made in a starting lineup is take his midfielder out and drop it back to the back, making window a back five. Is there a reason why Eddie isn't trying these things or hasn't tried them?
I think the tried and trusted comes to mind, mate.
Uh-huh.
Well, and to be fair, I can sit here and spout out so many different formations. I'm under no pressure. I'm under no pressure to get results. All I can say is what I think. Potentially we could go a different way. The man who makes all the decisions, unfortunately, is what was the that saying? I can't think of his name now. The lad we were talking about not so long back at the manager, and we couldn't remember who. It'll come. Not McMurtry.
Mancini?
No, Newcastle manager. Oh, it's gone out of my head. I just had it in the. And when he became manager, he had a phone call. And it was somebody just said on the end of the phone, "You're closer to the sack now than you'll ever be," because he took the Newcastle manager's job. I can't think who that was now.
No idea what you're talking about, to be honest.
Yeah, there was a phone call made to one of our old managers. I'm going back into the 70s, and it was a phone call made by one of the scouts or one of the coaches, and they said, "Congratulations." I can't remember. I'll have to have a look, mate. I have got it somewhere in one of my books. And he had a phone call to say, you're closer to the sack now than you'll ever be, because he'd just taken on board the coaching role, the head manager role. Back then, it wasn't a coach. And that to me is exactly where Eddie is. All those coaches around him. I mean, yeah, we all know they all go if Eddie gets a sack because they're all Eddie's men. But they would all come up with suggestions, Boaky. And the problem is does Eddie Howe trust the system? I mean, we've seen.
Let's just do these couple of super chats because they've been on a while, guys. Please,
go on, mate.
Tony T in Revenge of the Trumpets is saying, "Is prison open for service?" It's the Crumpet Man.
It's the Crumpet Man.
And Warren saying, "We need a 10 like Bellamy with speed and trickery." That would be very nice, wouldn't it?
It would. Martinelli is quite similar to Gordon, says Ricky D. But he can finish.
Not that similar.
as in useless.
I'm going to put this one up. I just wanted to say happy birthday to the Captain Bruno. Apparently it's his birthday today. So happy, whatever number you are today. I think 28, is it? 29. I'm going to be told off for saying the wrong one. Go on for the next one. What was the next one, Win? Have we done it now? Oh, we've done that one better than me. Yeah. Win, you're on mute. Win, you're on mute.
There you go.
There you go.
Why did we tell him, Gary?
I'm going to say
I just had a sneeze. There's nothing worse than that.
Was it Jim in the chat there, Gary, for the manager you're looking for?
Bill McGarry.
That's him. Begin with them. That's the only.
It might be. Like I say, I had it on the tip of me, but that's me all over, mate. I'll tell you. I will confirm it at a later date. Yeah, but he did get the phone call and say, isn't it funny how I can remember lyrics to songs, but I can't remember the song title. I could be singing it. Yeah. On a Friday night when you guys are all having your singing your knees up and stuff like that, me and the missus sometimes have a bit of a party in the house listening to you guys rock and roll, and the kids are having a dance with us and stuff like that, just having a bit of fun. I'm singing to all the songs that you guys sing, and they'll say, "Who was that?" And I can't remember. I haven't got a clue. But hey, that's my problem that I have to deal with on there every day. I can't. You know what? It wasn't definitely not Joe Harvey. It might be McGarry. It might be McGarry. You might be right. But anyway, that's where we're at. I suppose it's time I did this again because you know what? I haven't had enough of this.
NUFC Early Night News with Gary DeJordy Yum Yum, Andrew Boaky, and Derek the Mighty Wind. Weekdays from 8 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. USA. NUFC Talk.
But not it's 7:30, guys, not 8. We're going to give you that extra half an hour because you guys have all been missing us so much. We're giving you an extra bit. So there you go. We've got another hour or so to go. Let's have a quick look then at some of the international news that was out there. You guys enjoyed the internationals, I suppose. You got a bit of a taste of what's to come.
No.
It wasn't everybody's cup of tea, I must admit. But there has been some Euro tests for the under-21s with no scheduled Premier League 2 fixtures until January. The Magpies under-21 coach Adam Lawrence and his side now focus on cup football with action in 2 different competitions. This week sees United play the first and second group stage games in their Premier League International Cup, bringing Spanish and French opposition to Tyneside. On Tuesday, the 18th, sees Real Sociedad visit Whitley Park for the 7 p.m. kickoff before PSG will provide the opposition at the same venue on Friday, the 21st. That's also a 7 p.m. start. NUFC confirmed that the usual Premier League 2 admission arrangements will apply to both games. Season ticket holders admitted free, or else £3 for adults and £1 concessions in cash only at the gate. Should be a decent one. So the Magpies conclude their Group C ties by hosting Croatia Zagreb in December and Benfica in January. The format of the 32-team competition means that none of the 16 Premier League teams meet, but each host 4 continental sides. So that's an interesting one. Because when I read that, I thought it was quite nice for the young uns to have a little bit of European experience. And I'm sure that'll give the kids a lot of confidence going forward. Obviously, Nick Voltemada in action again tonight, scored again. Malik Chow in Germany only made a brief appearance. Is he on the team tonight?
He's on the bench again.
He's on the bench again, not come on yet. But he made a brief appearance.
He did. Fleeting appearance.
Towards the end. Germany's obviously won
4-0 up now, they are.
Yeah, and I say they're obviously doing again. And it's nice to see, like I say, Nick Voltemada working that system 4-2-3-1 and working a treat. Bruno again.
Could this be Viet coming back to a bit of form, perhaps? Liverpool fingers crossed.
His Wirtz
2 assists.
But that's the trouble with Wirtz, isn't it? Again, you've got to. Gary, have you ever been in a bunny room? I thought, well, I am here now. What was that?
What's a bunny room?
I have no idea, mate.
Is this me showing my ignorance again?
I have no idea what a bunny room is now. I don't even want to add or answer the question because I don't know what it is. I might be stepping into the mire even more. Bruno obviously finishes his international against Tunisia at Lille in France, so he hasn't got far to travel. They beat Senegal and, according to Win, had a cracking game. Our skipper the other day at the Emirates Stadium. Anthony Elanga played left wing and did really well. Is he something that we are missing out on, do you think, with Elanga?
Well, I've said a few names, try him on the left.
Yeah, because, I mean, I must admit, I looked at the game, and again, I've only seen highlights to a degree, and he looked absolutely fantastic. He really did look like he was, up for the job, if you like, down that left-hand side. But I wanted to ask you guys, because like I say, there was rumours that he left the international camp for personal reasons. Nobody seems to understand what's going on. And according to all reports, he's been somewhat arms around Graham Potter, because obviously he wasn't getting on. We'd seen there was a bit of a fracas in the tunnel after the game.
Yeah, but that was with Dahl Thomason, though.
Dahl Thomason. That's what I said. Yeah, that's what I said. There was a little bit of undoing, if you like, of a relationship. I'm going to say with Dahl Thomas, but with him now walking away from the second game for personal reasons, is that going to make him unavailable for the weekend? Because nobody knows what these personal reasons are. Is that going to scupper the plans even further? Because from what I've seen internationally, I would certainly say give him a go down the left-hand side because nothing else is working.
Well, I didn't see any of that Sweden game because I was watching something else. I forget what I was watching now. But I'm just looking at the stats on that, and
Switzerland lost. They lost 4-1, didn't they?
They lost 4-1 to Switzerland, and Elanga was one of the lowest rated on the team. Yeah,
there was nothing out on the final side. I mean, he was beating his player down that left hand side. So he was on fire.
So you watched the.
I watched the highlights. Yeah, I would say he was good. There was no end product again from Elanga. Or was it the fact that there was nobody in the box to get off the crosses? Because he was beating his play, he was getting to the byline, and he was whipping the balls in. Some were a bit heavy, a bit overhit. But there was a couple of times where he put a decent ball in and nobody was on the end of it. But again, is that the problem that Newcastle will have? Because of his pace, he's in front of everybody, and by the time he gets to the byline, everybody else is still on the halfway line, waiting to go. Doctor's orders, let's go!
Tony T's back in, he says, shout out to the Aussie guys and even Boaky for their new shows.
Yeah, good.
I'd love to live in Corey's world. He always seems so happy. Makes me sick.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, it doesn't matter what type of sleep you've had when you wake up to them, Corey and Sam, on the morning, because obviously it's evening time over there.
I can't believe Wayne Hefner doesn't want a bunny room.
Oh, mate, I tell you. That's what I said. I was frightened to say yes or no because I hadn't. I knew it was going to be awful. Irish Birkinshaw. Kenny W.
Keith Birkinshaw, that would be. Yeah. But he was Joe Harvey's coach, went to Spurs.
It wasn't. No, it must have. It might be McGarry. It might be McGarry. I'll have a look in my book in a minute. It's in there because it's signed. I mean, just talking about what Tony's just said there, and it is like I say, it doesn't matter where you've had a wake up, whether you're out the wrong side of the bed. When you're doing your graft on the morning, getting the kids ready to school and everything else, it's just nice to have the lads on because they are so jovial. And even when Sam's disagreeing, he still disagrees with a smile on his face, which is lovely. It's lovely to see. So massive shout out to the lads this morning. Great show as always.
It's 8:30 till 10:30 their show, isn't it?
There you go. Elanga said in an interview that his favourite position is left wing.
Right.
I haven't seen that, Marco, but thanks for bringing that up, buddy, because, like I said, he looked full of beans. It's something that we hadn't seen. Like I say, Switzerland took them to town, to be fair. They were very lacklustre, Sweden. But they seem, they're under Graham Potter. I mean, what does he know about coaching? It does make me laugh the way these guys just jumping in and out of a decent position. There you go, Ricky D saying, when I saw Sweden's group, I knew they'd find it tough. Switzerland are better and Kosovo are no mugs. Well, a lot of these small countries these days have got some absolutely cracking little players in there. I couldn't believe Kosovo when I saw them. I'm rubbish with names as it is, but I mean, you're right, there ain't no mugs. And they certainly took them to task. Where are we? There was another one here. Where are we? Yeah, it's going to be McGarry.
I'm trying to find out what's happened to Elanga.
There was nothing that I could see, mate.
His comment after the game, I felt really good. It was my first start in a long time in any competition. I'm happy to start for the national team. It's a great honour, and Graham gives me the freedom to be a threat.
Yeah, and that's what I said. He played, like I say, with an open energy. That's all I'm going to say. And it was nice to see, because I haven't seen that from Malanga.
The Swedish FA said he left the camp for personal reasons.
Yeah, exactly. But there's nothing on that.
No
so the question
elaboration on that at all.
Yeah. So is that just the fact that he just didn't want to play, or is it the fact that he's got issues at home or whatever? Because this is what I'm saying. Players' performance isn't just the fact that they've moved clubs. None of us know what happens at home. And, are we looking at these people and just saying, just turn up for work, lad. Get on with it. You're only kicking a ball around the field of play.
Let's just hope he hasn't been out for a couple of pints with trips, huh?
Yeah. Absolutely. There you go. Foxy again, DR Congo. And question, why would Wissa want to play for a nation that are bad? They eliminated Cameroon and Nigeria from the World Cup in a week without Wissa. Yeah, it's amazing, mate. A cracking story again. Roy of the Rover stuff for them.
That's in we've got coming on.
I always listen. Whenever there's money on the cards, it's written down, mate. I never forget that. Yeah, bless you. Thank you for that one. So it's going to be an interesting one. Like I said, J7 should be fit. Here's one for Martin. I've just had from Connor. According to One Football and the Manchester Evening News, Man City are interested in Bruno Guimaraes as replacement for Bernardo Silva after impressing on international duty for Brazil. Pep Guardiola is an avid fan of Guimaraes and he's ready to make a 70 million offer for the 29-year-old Brazilian. The City boss was quoted in the Shields Gazette. He said, he is an exceptional holding midfielder. He's aggressive with the ball or without it. At set pieces, he's aggressive, a real complete holding midfielder. So there you go.
Holding midfielder.
I think what we need to remember this week is it is silly season until the game start up again. There's going to be stories about everybody because people have got column inches to fill and they fill them basically. So there'll be stories like that. I think now with Bruno, there's very little chance of anybody coming in with the big money for him that would take for him.
And by the way, again, 70 million. You're having a laugh.
I mean, a lot of it is clickbait, isn't it? And we know that's where it's going to be. A lot of people are finding stories to write in there, and here's one for you that I thought was quite up your street. Listening to the Tonali story, so Pelagati's sure Newcastle star Tonali wants to return to Milan as captain, but not next year. So I'm thinking, well, that was the headlines. I'm going to have a read of this. Carlo Palaghetti today had stated that he's confident that Sandro Tonali will return to AC Milan in the next few years. And then it goes on right the way down towards the bottom. And this is his quotes, right? So I'm quite sure, not next year or the next, or maybe even a few years, because Milan doesn't have the money for Tonali's transfer fee and salary. I'm sure, though, that he will return to Milan. He wants to return to Milan, I don't know at what age, but he wants to end his career at Milan. You know that, don't you? And maybe even as captain. I was absolutely in bits when I read that.
Clickety-click. Straight out the running gill, that one.
And I thought to myself, you know what? It's justified, isn't it? When you look at some of the stories, as you've just said, Boaky, it's clickbait. The headlines is he wants to return, and you think, oh God, and again, it comes post just after the, his interview where he's talking about contracts. I'm not going to be here 10 years, but who knows what happens next year?
The problem is that it then becomes obviously some YouTubers, they're like the ones that do it by themselves and they sort of need stories because it's quiet again. They put the story out there, so all of a sudden from it being the Shields Gazette, which nobody really believes anything that they put in anyway, to being all over YouTube as fact, and then it's sort of Tonali's gone. So
No, I think that's a bit harsh with the Shields Gazette, by the way. You know.
Win.
No, I think
I can't remember. It's them in the Chronicle up here. I can't remember the last time they had a story that was right.
Well, I think that's the problem.
Again, I think that's harsh.
But I mean, there's a lot of journalistic.
They have got column inches to fill, as you say, but they have got insights into the club without a doubt. A lot more than some of the other sources have.
I believe it comes out of Craig Hope's mouth once in a while, but I think for most journalists at this time of the season, there's nobody really doing much. It's always, you say, Gary told, just clickbait to try to get the columns filled.
I think that the problem is, though, we talk about Craig Hope, and I think, unfortunately, Craig Hope has one finger on the pulse at least, because some of the stuff that he comes out with ain't far off the truth when you actually read between the lines. He may not say the whole truth, and he may skip around it a little bit and elongate his YouTube video. But he certainly gets to the mark, and you may not see the proof of the pudding within the week that he says it, but certain things have actually come full circle from what he was cascaded to the last few months. So, like I said, I do listen to what Craig Hope says, and I try and feed into some of his lines. I don't always, and I mean, to be fair, that he got a lot of criticism regarding Voltemada, but I could see exactly what he was getting at. And this is what I said. Chris was trying to defend Voltemada. It's not Voltemada's fault. Voltemada has been brought in not as a first choice striker for Newcastle. That's what you've got to remember. We were going for Ekatike. We were going for Sesko. We were going for players that play high up the field with pace, because Eddie Howe's style of play that's what he wanted. He wanted, you're never going to get like for Isaac, but you wanted somebody with a similar ilk, somebody who's got that pace, somebody who's got that, a bit about him that's going to get around the field of play. I mean, look, Gyökeres, he's not doing a great deal for Arsenal, but he's causing problems. He's causing problems that other players are benefiting from. And that's what Eddie Howe wanted. He knew he was never going to get Isaac numbers, but he wanted somebody that could go on the press and go hunting. Voltemada ain't a pressing man. He ain't got the pace to press. That's what I'm saying. It's difficult to try and slate a kid to try and do a job that ain't his job, because he'll never be that player. I like Voltemada. Like I said, I was gobsmacked when we went for him, and apparently we were looking at him in 24, which I didn't realise. But again, it was a case of Eddie Howe was unsure of whether he could do the role that he wanted him to do. Unfortunately, with this one, come the 11th hour, he was virtually the only player left with anything about him that we knew he was going to get. And I think he took Eddie Howe by surprise with the amount of goals he got first on. And I think, unfortunately, now, the way we play and him being man-marked, and once he comes deep, we haven't got players running past him.
That's the thing, because he brings 2 and 3 defenders with him every time, and there's nobody exploiting that space that's then created.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you've got is like when you're bringing their defenders further forward, that's when you can utilise the likes of Alanga to run the diagonals.
But I think that's because we are not as direct as we used to be. He comes deep, brings the defenders with him, but instead of sticking a ball through behind him, pendulum football.
Yeah, we just
back
go square
side
again.
to side, and then all of a sudden everybody's back there.
Yeah,
and there's nobody behind, getting on either behind the back four or certainly just in front of them in the space which has been created by all of the extra man marking on Voltemada.
But when that's not the player's choice, that's the coach's choice. Then if it was one off, you could understand. But that you're right. That's exactly the way.
No, but I think it's down to the players, Boaky, because I think they're lacking in confidence.
No, it's down. If it's a one-off, then yes, it's down to the players. But that's obviously the way they're being told to try to play a little bit, sort of keep ball possession, tippy tappy, keep ball possession.
I agree that Eddie is definitely trying for a more possession-based style, and I'm convinced that that's what's to blame for us dropping off the cliff the way we have. That's not our game.
So why can't Eddie see that, and why hasn't he changed over the last games?
Then of course it comes down to player confidence, as I say. And they're all frightened to make a mistake.
That's not player confidence. That's down to the coach not changing the style of play.
Well, we'll agree to differ.
But it's not agree to differ because the players don't choose how they play. There's the style of play that will play.
Well, I would say, of course, the players choose how they play.
But no, it's the coaching staff that set them up. So if Eddie wants them further up pitch, he has to be shouting at them and getting them up further up the pitch. It's not the players doing that. That's the way Eddie's is setting them up to play. Otherwise, there would be changes made.
Yeah, we said it for months and months and months. There was times where even the Rat was isolated. He couldn't, and the problem was with him. He hadn't got the strength to hold up the ball either. Sometimes, so it was given away a lot of the time, and that's where he used to get frustrated. Because the numbers that he had, can you imagine the type of numbers if we'd played a different type of system where you had got somebody alongside him or up in the 10 where he hadn't got to come into deep areas? And I think that is, for me, where we're getting at. According to a lot of rumours, Conor Gallagher wants out. He has had enough of sitting on the bench. I know he was a bit of a favourite of yours, Mighty.
He certainly was.
So he's asked the question, apparently, on potential move back to the Premier League in January after making, I think it was something like 50 starts over at Athletic. It's a shame. It's a shame for Connor. He's getting bit parts now off the bench. But he seems to have lost his way a little bit. What do you think he'd fit our style, though? Is he somebody that's really going to make a difference? You're going to have to pay some money for him.
He would certainly fit our Eddie style, original Eddie style, successful Eddie style. I'm just doing this one for fluidity and attacking prowess is confidence. Fact.
100%, Warren.
Meanwhile, Connor, it's World Cup year is one reason why he'll not be happy sitting on the bench because he's not getting any limelight.
Not getting anything, yeah.
So,
does he add anything to our squad, though? Does he make it better? Because I think you guys said over the summer, but now argued the fact that we should be signing better players that improve the first team.
Well,
you guys said we needed squad players, which fair enough. There was a conversation there then, but now we've got the squad players. I think any players we're signing now in January or next summer have to be put apart from. I do put a caveat in this, apart from the back four. So I'm talking about the front players here. In regards to that, have to be first team players because we don't need squad players now. We need players that are going to come in and improve the first team.
Yeah, but you see, I think this is where you often get misinterpreted by what you say. Sometimes by filling the bench with players that are better than we had, right? What you do is if you tuck in the undercurrent, what you do then is you get that 5% rebound from the players on there because they then realise that I can't just turn up and be guaranteed because there is better on the bench now. So you do get that undercurrent change. We just haven't seen it this season. And the problem is, if you go back, not just this season, even last season, our away form was absolutely dire. It's a problem that Eddie Howe has never fixed, the away form. So this is what I'm saying. If it ain't work, if this 4-3-3 is only a home side formation, then you have to start looking and not going 5 at the back. You don't have to move to that negative 5 at the back. Go 3 at the back. You know, if you want to go 3-4-3, that's fine. If you wanted to do something different, but you've got to start asking the question: is if I keep doing the same thing, am I doing the right job? And to me, when you look at the longevity, how long it's taken us to try and put this right away from home, and it's form away from home that is stopping us reaching that 70-point marker. That makes us, you know, one of the big clubs then. And this is what I said at the end of last season. You know, what was it, 67 points we ended up on? 65 points?
Last season?
65?
65,
Yeah,
I think it was.
Do you know what we are currently sitting at now at the end of the season? 55. That's 12th position.
That's if you extrapolate, but Sunderland are in 4th or something if you do that.
No. For Sunderland are in 10th. But that's what I'm saying. And they can only forecast on current form and what they see home and away. And because they are seeing our away form still being as poor as it was last season, because that was the only thing that was stopping us reaching that top 4 and being fixed in that top 4 was our away form. It wasn't anything else. And that's what I'm saying. This formation that Eddie works on at home,
66 last season.
66. I was in between, look, see? 65 and 67. That's what I'm saying. I can never get it blooming right with numbers. It's terrible. I mean, this is what we were talking about. You know, we're talking about the fullbacks and what a difference they make in our squad. And it's true. Absolutely massive shout out. And like I say, for me, that has been one of the disadvantages of Newcastle play since we've been losing these two. Now, you said before, Win, you'd keep Trippier because obviously we need a left back. Everybody keeps telling me. No, I think we need a right back because you've got T now who can double up for Lewis Hall. I think if you can get a decent right back, hopefully, I mean, potentially a versatile fullback, mid-range. And I'm not expecting somebody to come and, tear up trees because, like you said, they have to be willing to sit on the bench beyond these two youngsters. But there's players out there that can give you yardage, and I think that is the thing we're lacking at the minute. We all knock Dan Burn, right? And I think that is where we don't
all knock them.
No, but we understand. What I'm saying is we understand his limitations, okay? And both me and you watched that game, and I must admit, I thought Dan Burn was exposed a lot with Tuchel's formation. I put it in the chat this morning, and obviously you guys didn't put it on the screen. But when you look at Dan Burn, Stones being that free role to go and play in the 6, Dan Burn had got O'Reilly and Kwanzaa in the back line. So again, it's a different formation. He's the kingpin. It's not always the kingpin, remember. He's always left of the king. So again, it's a new role for him to play at international level. And again, these guys aren't anything massive. But Albania are no mugs. They were throwing the ball over the top. They were looking to break quickly. He made really a couple of errors. We saw he gave the ball away, which nearly gifted them a goal, to be fair. But I mean, apart from that, it wasn't as bad as the press are making it. They give him a 5 out of 10. So again, I had to go and dig a little bit on the deeper side because I have to try and support you, Win.
Good for you.
Can I pick you up on this?
What was I saying? Hasn't Boaky got a lovely smile? Or is it wind?
Yeah, exactly.
Wind, mate. But picking you up on this, but I don't think he had a bad game, but was it an international style central defender game that he had? I don't think it was. I think he played well, and there was no issue with him, but he wasn't of an international standard for me.
No, I think that, is always going to be the key, buddy. And there I'm going to put this on the screen just for you, Win. There you go. Dan Burns' game by numbers versus Albania. 97 minutes played, 114 touches, 98 out of 102, which is 96% passes complete. 5 out of 6 duels won, 4 clearances, 4 tackles and interceptions, 3 recoveries, 1 big chance created. 7.9 according to my rating. So again,
well, like I say, I mean, the making him the worst player on the pitch by the national press was a joke for me.
Yeah,
but I'm used to it.
Can I put you it win? Because you always say with Botman passes from side to side. That's kind of what Byrne did in that game. He didn't try any superstar passes or anything.
But he
one big chance created.
But that he had been taught to play. So when you pick Botman up on that, I think you need to remember this game with Byrne.
Yeah, but you see, this is what I'm saying. Byrne, under his own admittance, in the high performance interview, said, that's not my game.
No.
I'm not the type of player who'll ping the ball 70 yards to feet. I'll give it to somebody 5 yards who can do the job. And sometimes I admire the bloke for honesty, rather than trying it and giving the percentage balls away time after time after time, where you do get slated. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was a couple of howlers under Burns' wing yesterday. But it is what it is. It's like I said, playing a different role, sometimes it does get into your head. Them trying to counter all the time over the top. So, in your mindset, you've been beaten a couple of times under your home team. Newcastle playing left back. That is not his natural position. Doesn't want to be found out again. He's under a bit of pressure himself. And again, he's now slouch. He's now young whippersnapper. This is his last chance of getting to the World Cup. So the pressure on that kid's shoulders is phenomenal. So,
he can hack it. He can hack it. Don't worry.
I just sometimes
from
think,
Blythe,
I think we can all sit here and honestly say we all want to see him at the we all want to see him at the World Cup. It might not be the best thing for the squad in some people's opinions, but that lad deserves one final hurrah to be him going to a World Cup.
Ronnie Omelette doesn't agree. Big Dan Burn is garbage. He scored a couple of headers in big games. He lacks any real quality and is devoid of pace. He gets targeted for a reason. He gets targeted because he's left back.
Well, there you go. I mean, listen.
I don't think anybody would target him as a weakling in the centre of defence.
Do you think Tuchel would be that blind if he didn't see anything in Dan Burn? Do you think he'd make the England squad? We'd be desperate for centre forwards. Poor Harry Kane, bless him, in his elder years, had to do a full game. That's how bad it was up top. I don't know. I mean, he obviously sees something in Dan Burn.
I think probably, Gary, what he sees in Dan Burn is if you're
not a left back.
No, definitely not left back. But if you're winning a game 2-1 or something in a semi-final, and you need a player to come on and G people up and be a decent central defender, that's what Burns going to do. He's not going to be a starter. I wouldn't have thought at the World Cup. In fact, I would be very surprised if he was. But I think he is the player that's going to come on off the bench and be able to hold on to a lead and, be a bit of a leader on the pitch for him as well.
Yeah. I mean, it is a toughie. Pop Mags, there's something that I want to question, and we've said that against Malik Chow, even though I think he's an absolutely great find. There was a lot of players that come through our doors. And again, we've seen Jeffo. He's sometimes third and fourth choice in clubs that we've gone and picked the cherries at, I suppose. So I suppose you have to question yourself. The likes of the midfielders, as Boaky said before, if these aren't of the quality, the first teamers, if they can't get in Aston Villa's midfield, do we expect them to get straight into our midfield? I suppose he won't get much of a chance at the minute with 2 out of the 3 anyway. And like I say, regarding how J7's reacted to that bruise on his shin, Is it J7 we'll need this weekend against Man City? Do you think we'll need a...
Actually, Man City is the sort of game that I would say we don't need J7. Strange as it sounds. But on the other hand, it's fun for me now, again, as crazy as it sounds, it's almost a must-win game.
Yeah.
So just throw a call. I want to see us having a go. I don't want to see tippy-tappy football. I want us to see progressive, direct attacking. Have a go at them, because if you look at not just this season, even last season, if you look at the teams that actually had a go against City, a lot of them had success.
Chow's on apparently in the German game for the last few
Can I
minutes.
just put this one
Go.
up?
Yeah.
Chris is on from 9:30. Will win, and the rest of the lads on the late night show. So it'll be a new start, but I think they'll probably link on from this channel, will it?
Yeah.
No, we're going to break from here just to give Win a bit of a breather, because you know how croaky his voice gets if he's talking too much and things like that. So we're going to go to about 9:25, and then we'll break from here, and then the lads will start again from 9:30 through to 11 o'clock for your entertainment, the late night show.
For your delectation.
Yeah, exactly. So I suppose for the final 10 or so minutes, let's have a quick look then, a quick gander into what could be coming our way. So there's been links, and again, we saw this lad the other day when we played Serbia. And again, he didn't really do a great deal of frock blowing, as they say. Alexander Stankovic, there you go. He's a 20-year-old, 6 foot plus right footer. Plays, I mean, to be fair, a very versatile young man. Can play from the centre-back position through the defensive midfield. Very similar to how Pivos that we've bought now that we don't really see a lot of. To be fair, I think he's still injured. He had lots of, I suppose, stars because he can play centre-back, right back. He can play defensive midfield. So obviously this is somebody that Eddie Howe likes because he likes that versatility in a player. Again, you look at his pizza. He's got some credit, but again, against England, he was pretty poor for Serbia. When he come on, he come on in the 30th.
Let's hope he doesn't have a lot of bad games. I will know what the headlines are going to be.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you look at it from here. I mean, his stats are up and around.
Stank.
5.8 again, Bayern Munich, and 5.2. So again, he's up and down a little bit, but you know, he's all right. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to, you know, rip up any trees. Expected goals, obviously, you know, his percentiles are all good where you want him, depending on where you want to play him. You know, he's over 50% on his long ball accuracy. Crossing's not great. Successful crossing's not great. So you wouldn't play him out wide. Dribble's not brilliant either. So, like I say, he's not the take-on, the dribbling type of player, that fluid, low to gravity type of player. He's one who will just see a pass and do it. But you know, he's got some good areas, especially on the tackling side of things. So his defensive duels look very, very good. He's certainly a player that you could look at. I mean, the one I would go and spend money on if I wanted to go like for like with something like Jack, is Angelo Stiller. We're not linked to him. He's linked with Man U, and I think he'll go to Man U. But I think this young lad has got all the elements to being a really good player, especially like I want somebody to just go and sit in the six. 24-year-old left-footed player. Like you say, chances created 94%. This is from a deeper role. Touches 97%. Again, he's not a shooter. He has got the odd goal, but again, it's more the fact that he's got that eye, if you like. He's had a couple of poor games in the past. Didn't get picked by Nagelsmann for Germany. which is a bit of a surprise. But again, he hasn't had the best run of form lately. But it looks like he's mine now. According to the rumours, he's set on a move. So again, we've all seen it before. You know, once teams come in for you or put that thing into your head, you can lose focus at your current club. But again, his average rating 7.42, 3 assists.
Well, we should have an in there anyway with Nick, Big Nick. So
yeah, absolutely. And again, look, you can see by his ratings, he's not a poor player. You know, for a young lad, and these are the type of players. But he's going to cost you 50+ million for you to get him. He's a good player.
Have you got a comparison tool on there?
With J7?
No, with Conor Gallagher.
I haven't, mate. Not on this one. I have compared him to J7 though, because that is who I want to try and free up Tonali, and the only way I'm going to free up Tonali is by putting somebody who can do that role. And that doesn't mean that I want to get rid of J7 out of my squad. I just think there's games for J7, and that isn't every game. And I think it limits us to only playing a certain way. And I think, you know, when you look at this lad compared to J7, how it changes and how it differs, is phenomenal. They are two different types of players, if you like. J7, we know he can do box to box. He's very good. He's physical. Work rate covers a lot of ground. Good defence and transition. But you've got something like Stiller, who's a creative. He's a good passer, carries the ball well, and he's strong in the build-up. You look at his passing and creativity, 89% pass accuracy, just under 2 key passes per 90. Expected assists of like half. And I say, you know, it's just under 1 per 90 on assist. That's from a deeper position. When you look at the 25-26 for Joe Linton, it's just more conservative in forward passing and less about unlocking and trying to get into the box with J7. So he's a bit different. So passing accuracy is still good from J7, just under 87%. So he's okay. Goal contributions, 1 goal in his appearance this season in the Bundesliga, 4 assists in his recent matches in 25, 3 goals in 25-26 across all competitions for Joe Linton. Again, not a creator, so there's no assists there. But his defensive work with Stiller, good at recovering the ball, solid in tackling interceptions. He's not a very aggressive player when it comes to duels, but tactically he's disciplined. So whatever you set out for him, he's that type of player. He'll work that line for you. But again, he's not the player who's going to go and throw himself into challenges. Obviously, where you get with J7, that's what you get. High work rate, recovers possession frequently, recovers in limited minutes. That's his aim, is to get the ball and win that ball back quick. And again, he's useful in pressing transitions and defending box to box. So physical attributes with Stiller, athletic, good mobility, good in transition plays. And we know with J7, so I'm not going to keep going through J7. Obviously, injury. I mean, still is younger. You know, he's 24. He's less burdened.
That's the reason I was asking for the comparisons, because he's the same age as Conor Gallagher.
Yeah, but he's a different player, you see.
I mean,
he's
Connor's
a different player.
25, I think.
Yeah.
But I think Conor Gallagher could play the 6.
Yeah,
Ronnie
I've
Omlis saying we need to stop packing out the squad with this depth crap and get some players that are better than the first 11. We're becoming dull. We are the Volvo of the Premier League.
Ronnie, I said that last transfer window, it got shot down by some people. But I completely agree with you. We do need to start getting. For me, if Ramsey isn't a replacement for J7, we should never have signed him. We should have signed a player who was coming in to replace J7, and J7 becomes your bench player.
Yeah.
That was my argument throughout that whole transfer period was, yes, we would have paid 20-30 million more, but we had the money to do that. You know, that's the process that we should have went through.
Yeah. I mean, you know, this lad, this Keith Smith, that is very interesting. And like I say, anybody get opportunity, go and have a look at some of AZ Alkmaar games and see this lad. That's why I think we are looking at this more of a free role player If this 19-year-old comes our way, then I will be over the moon, to be fair, because he seems to be that dancer, that player that can progress the ball from the deep part of midfield up to the likes of Voltemada comfortably. He's got great balance. He's got great athleticism. He sees the pass. Doesn't really seem to lose the ball. It's like he's glued to his feet in that midfield role, and he's got an air of grace about him. I like the look of this lad, and it looks very much like Eddie Howe also likes the look of him. Netherlands, like I say, when you look at what he's doing at the moment in the under 21s for his national side, again, very competitive, very type of balanced player. Doesn't see himself being too high, and again for the price. I think he is definitely worth £25 million. I mean, they reckon 9 million here, but I don't think he'll come away. I think he'll be about 20 million, if I'm honest with you. But again, versatile player, as you can see on the screen there. Central midfielder, right winger, attacking midfielder. So again, somebody ain't playing well, you've got a player who can just slot in. But I think after a few games, and when if it's true what's out there, that this seems to be the one that Ross Wilson is highlighting. These are the type of players that Ross is looking at. Not big names. He's looking at the young wonder kids at the minute. There's a couple that have been listed. And like I say, his numbers aren't brilliant when you look at some of the games. But when you go and watch him play, and again, we all look at eye candy rather than stats, you can see there's a player there. And I think he will sort that hole out between Voltemada and that the midfield six, if you like, because he can play in a free role. Very, very good player, and somebody that I like and admire.
But I'm not saying you're wrong, Gary, but all I would say is that watching players perform and work their magic in the Dutch league and at under 21 level in the internationals is a completely different kettle of coke to doing it in the Prem with
You're
men.
right.
But
Yes,
Wayne,
you're right.
I think Irish made a good point there as well. Do you think Eddie would play him though? And that's the big problem. Wilson can go out and identify all this young talent and have them ready to set up and ready to come in, but it's then up to Eddie whether he'll give them a chance. And he's been so reluctant to put young players into that squad. It's unreal. So I think there needs to be, yes, we need to get better young players in, you're quite right. But the other side of the coin is as well, Eddie's got to be ready to give them a chance.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's an interesting look. This has all come from Ross Wilson. You know, there's a couple in there. Like I said, there's no links to Ken, but I'll tell you something now. If you go and look at him, he was one of the young lads that I put. You know, when I did my 50, he was one lad that struck me as a 15-year-old. I mean, he's 16-year-old now. He's certainly one that I would look at bringing in, and I'll put him on the screen just so you can see him. He's a 16-year-old player playing in against men, as you call it, in Bundesliga 2. And like I say, you look at the type of balance that this young lad has, and this is what I said. You know, there's players out there. Who's the Arsenal lad? Dowman. You know, 15-year-old kid. And again, it's about managing the minutes. It's not about giving them freedom, play every game. It's about managing the minutes. But he looks as though he can handle himself. He's a 6-footer. It's not as if he's a short, skinny kid. But the beauty of this lad is he can guide away from the challenges. He's balanced. I mean, there's some right clatters coming into him in midfield. If you have a look on YouTube, and he just walks through them. You know, he's got that little bit of a give and go. He'll drop his shoulder, pull the ball out. A bit like Voltemada. You know, sometimes you look at it and you think, how have you got out of that? You've just beaten 3 players there. How have you just done that? He puts you in that type of bracket. He's very, very comfortable on the ball. Right then, lads, I'm going to give you a chance to get yourselves watered drinks, breaks, toilet breaks, do whatever you want. You guys also in the chat. I'll let you do the thanks to Wazza, because obviously he's been outstanding.
Yeah, and Tony T.
Yeah.
And Revenge of the Trumpet, but especially Warren as usual. Thank you very much, mate. Oh, they're 6-0 now to Germany.
Wow. Crazy.
So
Any more for Baltimore?
No, that tabletop clash was on.
Totally one-sided, wasn't it?
It was.
The American man confirmed that you will be transferred across to the next show as well. So if
straight from this, yeah. So like I say, yeah. If you guys in the chat, obviously keep yourselves with us. You will be transferred directly across to the American mag and team with a mighty win and all. So see you after. Yeah, thanks Tony T for that one. I'm not going to say that out loud. But from myself, the Geordie Yam Yam, thank you for watching. Thank you, the mighty win, and obviously thank you, Boaky, for being with me.
Howie, the lads, hit the lakes, folks, hit the lakes.
Whack the lakes.
Absolutely, yeah, indeed. If you can just do that, share, do whatever you can, just to get us obviously out there as a channel to other supporters. And from me and from the lads over there, it's a good night. See you on the next one.
Night.
Tomorrow, same time. Take care for now.
Same bat place, same bat channel.
NUFC Early Night News with Gary the Geordie Yam Yam and Drew Boaky.